Hello and welcome to the Iron Dinos Dinocast number 10. I am Shaun and I'm here with Jason.
I am Jason, I'm drinking my coffee.
And I'm here with Adam.
Hey!
And frankly, I can't wait to get most of these things out of the way so we can talk about the Batman, but we have to do these things in order. So we're going to start by talking through last month's Games with Gold, then the upcoming month's Games with Gold, anything else we've played, anything we've watched, including the Batman, and then anything else we've been up to or whatever else takes our fancy. So Jason, if you wouldn't mind taking it away, what are April's Games with Gold?
They are Another Sight, Pew, Outpost Kaloki X, and MX versus ATV Alive.
Wow.
I'll start with Another Sight. It's a steampunk platformer set in 1899 where you play as both a girl and a cat. And based on that premise, I'm sold. I'm looking forward to trying it out. And that's all I need to know. I've seen one little video. I don't know how it plays. I kind of want to go into it blind. Because it seems like it'll play how I like games to play, and as long as it does play as long as it lives up to the expectations I've already set it in the 2 minutes I've seen of it, it should be fine. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'll give it a go. Have you ever heard of it before, either of you?
No, but it's right up my alley, and I think it looks quite Alice in Wonderland-y. Like a slightly steampunky Alice in Wonderland, not the abomination Tim Burton brought about, but like a cool... I think she's got kind of Disney's Alice's vibes. The cat thing is quite Alice in Wonderland-y because obviously there's the Cheshire Cat. And this is going to go one of two ways for me. I'm either going to really, really like this or be disappointed by it because I've got pretty high hopes. There's actually, if you scroll through the pictures on Xbox.com, right in the minute, there's right in the middle, there's like an underwater tunnel that looks like both like something out of Earthworm Jim and out of Metroid, and that has already really got me excited. But you know, it's got a cat in it. I love cats. Cats. Adam,
Cats are good.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one as well. I saw the trailer and I saw that you get to actually play as the cat, so I was really excited for that straight away. I was like, yeah, that sounds good. Probably would fit into your pause button, Shaun, wouldn't it?
yeah, we'll chuck it in that folder, I reckon. Along with the Games of Gold.
Yeah. But yeah, looks great. Loving the artwork of it, actually. Looks like a really strong storyline as well. So, yeah, looking forward to this one. If you are, it is available from April 1st to April 30th. First released was 6th of September 2018. The devs are Lunar Great Wall Studios, published by Toplitz Productions and Fish Eagle.
I'd like to point out on that one that basically... It says it's like the ongoing narrative through it is building the relationship between your player character and the cat. Now, if you remember Fable 2, they did a similar thing, and I got quite attached to that dog by the end of the game, and I was very upset when what happened. But I can assure you, the second I've loaded this game, I'm going to be bonded with that cat. I'm going to want to see it do well. I'm going to be horrified if it dies. I am already in love with it because it's a cat. So yeah, this should emotionally resonate with me.
Or destroy you.
Or destroy me, yes.
The next game is Hue. This is a puzzle adventure game which I think I've nearly bought or downloaded it like 20 times over the last couple of years.
Me too.
I keep seeing it.
I
even
actually
thought I might have
own
played
this
it
on Steam.
Okay. I thought I'd played it, but looking at it, I don't think I've played it. I think I've played a lot of the games like it, but I'm happy I've got an excuse to play it now. So you can then tell me. I believe you unlock colours on a colour wheel, and then you select a certain colour, and it makes certain obstacles disappear or do other things. And that's all I know about it. And as far as I'm concerned, that's good enough for me. And as long as it plays well and is just the right level of tricky puzzle thing, then I'll be happy. Is it?
Only time will tell. No, I'm exactly the same as you on that. Yeah, it's been on my to play list for a very long time. Like I say, I'm certain I own it on Steam. I might own it on Games of Gold. Good old games as well. I don't know.
You've not actually played it then?
No, it's just been on my list like forever, and I'm really pleased it's come to this, because now I will play it. I'll have to play it for the channel. It'll force me to sit and play it. So yeah,
Damn
really
channel.
excited for this one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one as well. I'm very interested in the clip. I saw that he was running up a hill and a boulder was coming towards him, and then he changed the colour, and then the boulder disappeared. And then
I bet he
didn't
made
hit
a deal
him,
with
so-
God.
Yeah. So that looks like a really interesting mechanic, especially to do it mid-play, mid-jumping and all stuff like that. So that looks really, really cool, really interesting. The puzzles look quite good as well. So yeah, looking forward to this one.
I've played
this
other
one-
games with similar mechanics as well. There's a bit of that in the later stages of Celeste. One of the greatest games of gold of all time. One of the greatest games of all time. I fucking love Celeste. If I recall correctly, there's a bit of that in Thomas Was Alone as well, which was really, really good as well.
I need to go back and complete that.
It was really good. Really, really good.
I don't know.
Sorry, Adam. Continue, sir.
It's all good. This one is available from April 16th to May 15th. You got like a whole month for this one. First released was August 30th, 2016. The devs are Fiddlesticks, published by Curve Digital.
That brings us to the first of the 360 games for this year. Not year, this month, in fact. And that's Outpost Kaloki X, or 10. I don't know. Is it X or 10? It's probably X. It's a city building management game in space.
Spice!
Yeah, I was going more pigs in space, but I didn't do that either. I kind of fucked that up. Anyway, in space!
Yay!
My gut reaction is I'm not going to enjoy this. I probably won't give it the time it deserves, and I won't ever return to it. So check back next month to hear if it's my new favourite game. I don't know. I have enough trouble keeping my own life in order to worry about management games, to be honest, even with a sci-fi twist. So I will give it a go for the channel, but only for the channel, and it might surprise me, but I can see it's managing stuff, and I don't want to manage things in my free time. Yeah.
I mean, it immediately gets a leg up with me for specifically putting space dollars. I always love it in old sci-fi when they put the word space randomly in front of things to convey that they're in space, and I enjoy it, as I'm sure is the case here, that they've done it in slightly tongue-in-cheek little way. So that's all fun. It seems to, according to the write-up, it seems to revolve largely around lemonade. So I'm down with that. I also like lemonade. And it does sound like there's a couple of different modes. It says there's a war story or an adventure story. So maybe the adventure story... maybe you could either do it in two different factions or two different ways, but I'd like to think that maybe one of them is a little easier if you just want to enjoy the game, rather than, as these management sims tend to be for me, first few levels are fine, then the difficulty jacks up massively, and I get fed up and never play it again. But no, I really like the look of this from the bits I've seen and from the looks I've get. It's strangely reminding me of like an upscaled PS1 kind of look, and I'm kind of into that just to see what this looks like to actually play. So yeah, this is unlikely to be a runaway hit with me, but I'm definitely going to give it the time of day, and if nothing else, hopefully I'll find something in the graphics and the space dollars. All about the space dollars.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this one. I quite like a management sim. I think one of my favourites was probably on the Super Nintendo Theme Park. That was a favourite of mine back in the day. So yeah, I do have an affinity with these types of games. Although looking at the trailer on this one, I'm really hoping the story mode that you mentioned, Shaun, gives it a bit more, because it looks, I don't know, it doesn't look like there's too much to build and do other than just manage what you already have. So
well, it's,
I don't know.
not to step on your little bit coming up, but it's from 2005, so it's, if it wasn't released on disc, it's got to be a really early live arcade game. It says it's a high definition version, so I wonder if this isn't. Maybe this was originally on the PlayStation or something and got
maybe
upscaled. But yeah, because it certainly looks its age, if not older. But it'll be interesting to have a look. Anyway, there's got to be something. If that release date is correct, and I have no reason to assume it isn't, that's got to be pretty close to the release of the Xbox 360.
The devs are Ninja B and Woohoo Studios, also published by Ninja B and Xbox Game Studios. I had to do that, Woohoo. It's available from April 1st to April 15th.
Nice.
Yes.
And the last one is MX versus ATV Alive, which is like a racing game. It's an off-road racing game. It's like what is it? It's in terms of racing games, this is probably visually the sort of thing I want to play. It's not too serious, it's aggressive, it's colourful, there's plenty of mud and stuff. However, I'm slightly wary of this one because having read a little bit about it, well, first of all, the multiplayer with these old games don't always work very well. It might do, it might not. I don't know, but so I'm dubious of that. Also, I read a little bit about this and it said that the angle of the game was it was released quite cheaply because it didn't have a lot of features and they had a lot of paid DLC later. That was the way they sold it. So I don't know if we're getting the core game or if we're getting all the DLC as well. If we're just getting something that was originally released cheaply for free now, I don't know if that's worth it for me. But we'll give it a go. Might take me less time to finish it. So, yee. Woohoo! I'll say it now.
That's a racing game. I'm sure I'll play it a bit for the channel, quite enjoy it, and then never play it again. That's nothing specifically against this game, but it's just not really my cup of tea. Unless it's really got something unique to offer, it's probably not going to grab me. But, Adam, what do you say?
I like racing games. I've always liked racing games, especially in the online aspect. But as Jason pointed out, if we're not getting all the DLC, then I'm a bit dubious. But I shall hold my opinion till I actually play it. But this one...
No. Say everything now. It's going to be set in stone what you think right now.
Set in stone right now. I generally enjoy racing games, so I'm probably going to enjoy it to a certain degree, but we shall see how much. To be honest, it depends on, for me, racing games, it depends on the tracks. If there's like a really varied track and like many different tracks and scenery and stuff like that, then I'll probably enjoy it. But if there's very limited tracks and the whole idea is just building a career on the limited tracks, then I'm probably going to switch off. But we shall see. We shall see how it plays. But this is available from April 16th to April 30th. It was first released 10th of May 2011, quite a while ago. The devs are Rainbow Studios and THQ, also published by THQ. And interestingly, I do believe last month, SpongeBob, I believe that's THQ as well. So
would have been. THQ are no longer. Yeah. So that's what you've got to look forward to, and/or ignore, and/or, well, whatever you want to do with it over the coming month. They're going to be free, so look forward to them or don't, but don't take it out on us. We're just vessels for information. We're not like choosing these last month's games of gold. We're going to start with Sacred 2 Fallen Angel, which I did not get around to playing, I'm afraid.
Great start. Well done.
Yeah, I know. I really tried to play every single one. I'm on most of the videos, but I just didn't get time to play this one. I was going to play it last week when I had a week off, but I didn't. So, it's what it is. Guys, what do you think?
This was the first game I played. I played possibly somewhere between 2 and 4 hours on the first day, probably another 4 hours the next day. I found it quite fun. It wasn't that challenging, but I'm assuming it does ramp up as you go along. There's lots of... so it's basically like a role-playing game set in, the normal world of all that. There's lots of characters you can choose from. There's elves and stuff. You can tell how much I remember what I played in this game. I played it right at the beginning of the month. I've forgotten it, really. But, so I played two different characters. The first one I chose purely because it looked like they were wearing the most inappropriate thing to wear for this adventuring, which was looking like they were going out clubbing. They had high heels on, bunches, and like a tight top. I thought, that's a fun character to play. Gradually armoured her up, and she looks a lot better now and more appropriate. But that was fun. I also played the kind of robot-y guy. I can't think what he was now. Anyway, played quite a lot with a girl. Yeah, it was quite fun. Actually, it was a lot more fun than I expected. There's lots of quests to do. Everywhere you turn, there's another quest to give. Hey, there's a man there. Quest. Find this for me. Find that for me. The enemies are quite fun. They're all quite varied. They say little funny things. I think there's a lot of humour gone into it that you don't always pick up on if you're not really listening. Lots to unlock and discover. Kept, making my weapons better. Upgrading, that's the word I'm looking for. Yes, upgrading weapons and armour and magic and all that. And it was generally fun. And then I forgot all about it and never went back again. But I had intended to, but I didn't. But there's definitely a decent game there, I think. It holds up. I liked it. Nice visuals. Oh, I didn't like the camera. So first of all, I've just remembered some things. I adjusted the camera after playing it for several hours and found it better with my new set, because you could obviously change the settings. I changed it to more how I play sort of 3D, like GTA type games. I found if I do this to the camera and that's the camera, it works a bit better for me. Also, I turned on the gore, so that was more fun, which is not on by default, by the way.
Oh.
So you can get lots of blood going on if you turn it on. So that improved my gameplay, and I quite like wandering around the world. It is slightly annoying where the camera is, because it just never goes down to quite like level with your character. It's always slightly above, and I like to see ahead of me. And I think Adam actually said in your video that was slightly, you couldn't really see that far ahead of you. Now, no matter where you put the camera, you can't see that far ahead of you, unless you sort of zoom way up above yourself, which is fine. But generally speaking, yeah, it's an enjoyable game, which I thought I'd go back to, but haven't as yet. But might do one day. Who knows? What about you, Adam?
You echoed everything I was going to say, really. The one downfall I had with the game was the camera angle. I find it very frustrating that I can't look ahead of me. Like, no matter how I adjusted that camera, I just couldn't quite look ahead of me. It was always pointing down at the ground to some degree, and I find that very frustrating in games. I like to look up, and I couldn't look up, and it was very annoying. But however, despite that, I did sink about 16 hours into this, and yeah, like Jason, I upgraded my character. I stayed with the same character because I quite enjoyed my character, same character in the video. Upgraded the weapons, really great sort of interaction with all the people, and they've got some quite funny things to say, as Jason said, especially the enemies as well. I think in the video, actually, one says, "I should have listened to my wife." So that was quite funny. There's lots of little tiny quips like that, and yeah, overall, a really good game, as I say. But the camera angle, I'm hoping to go back to it, but the camera angle might be a turn off for me. Next,
The Flame in the Flood.
Oh, that one.
It was available all of March. I didn't go back to it. I wasn't sure if I was going to or not. I haven't deleted it off my Xbox yet, but honestly, it left so little an impression I didn't really think of it again. And that's not what I was expecting, and it's not really a good sign. I enjoyed what little I played of it, but honestly, I think I was still basically in tutorial mode, or I was still in the learning process, and none of it grabbed me enough that I've gone back. So, loved the art style, loved the sound design. And again, I've said it before, I said it in the other review, it's not my style of game. But yeah, that's where I am with that so far. What about you guys?
similar to you. It's not my style of game. I was surprised by how much I actually did enjoy it to start with. I loved the visuals, same as you. I thought the world was quite good. The reason it's not my sort of game is just because it's that you have to put the time in to learn stuff and work about what works well, and that's really how the game works. And it's dying is part of the game, and then you improve it and all that sort of stuff, and you start again.
Yeah,
knowing
I'm
the
also
knowledge
not
to
a
go
fan
faster.
I'm also not a fan of what you call kind of roguelike things as well, or procedurally generated. Procedurally generated is what I'm looking for. I like, maybe it's because the era I grew up and everything, but I've never taken to things that aren't somewhat set.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of RNG being dependent on whether I will succeed or not. And there's only a limited amount I can take before that starts pissing me off. So that might be part of why I didn't go back to it. But anyway, sorry, carry on.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I think this is kind of sort of halfway house between random stuff and because it's like every island you go to there's like basic types of island, isn't there? And they're likely to have the same sort of things, just random where they're going to appear and when they appear. And I couldn't steer that boat well enough to actually go to the ones I wanted to half the time anyway. But in short, it surprised me that I did like it to start with. I played it. I died a few times. I like the fact you can sort of save things in the dog's backpack so it's there for the next time, so you're a little bit prepared for next time. I learnt a little bit, but it didn't really take me back. I had every intention of going back and even got quite excited about going to play it the next day, and similar to the other game, never went back. And as you say, it now feels like this was years ago I played this game. It was only the beginning of the month, but I probably put 2 or 3 days into it, not full days obviously, until when I saw what we were going to be talking about today earlier, I thought that was months ago, wasn't it? It just seems like a long distant game, but yeah, thought I'd play it again. Did not play it again. The what do you call it, the inventory, I had some minor issues with that, but I don't know why I had issues with that. It wasn't like a major problem. I could navigate it quite well, but occasionally I'd go, well, why is it not doing what I want it to do? But then when I thought about how it should work, I thought, well, no, that's how it should work. So it's probably just me being a bit dim-witted in this case. But that's my only real complaint. I don't really see a problem with it if you're into that type of game. I think it's all right. Just not for me. There you go. That's my opinion. Adam?
I enjoyed this game a lot. But the whole roguelite, it's not quite a roguelite, but
no, roguelite's not the right word. It's procedurally generated is what we should be saying.
Basically, there is save points down. Basically, you're travelling down this massive long river, and there are save points, but they're very few and far between. So, as Jason said, unless you can sort of prepare yourself and remember the ingredients and stuff like that, then it gets very, oh no, I've just lost a load of progress and now I've got to redo it all. And I'm not a big fan of that. However, the actual game in itself is very, very good. I really like the fact that once you've got a handle of the beginning mechanics and how things work, if you go after the raft upgrades, you can really start to steer your raft. I didn't actually include it into the video that I made, but later on, afterwards, I played it again and I upgraded the boat 2 or 3 times, and you can really steer across all the to the other islands. And I'm guessing, I haven't tried this out yet, but I'm hoping that you can add an engine, and I'm hoping you can, as Shaun mentioned in the video, I'm hoping you can go slightly back up the river if you've missed something. I'm hoping that's a thing you can do with the engine. But all the upgrades are designed to help you control the boat a hell of a lot more, and even just one upgrade, you get a huge benefit. So this is very much a game that if you learn all the stuff and how things work and how to progress, that will help you survive and steer to these islands and avoid the islands if you're not prepared for certain islands, then yeah, you can get really far. And the whole dying a lot and saving thing, it gets less. Well, that's how I found it anyway. At the beginning, it's a very steep learning curve, because you'll land on an island that you think, oh yeah, let's try this island, and there's a wolf, or as I found, a wolf and a hog, and I got sandwiched in the middle of them. So that was fun. And then you're like, well, how the hell would I have dealt with that? And then you later find out, you can build traps and you can run away and you can turn and press X and it will give you a couple of seconds to get away. And there's lots of little mechanics you can learn. As Shaun said, like the graphics and the artwork, absolutely love. Yeah, really good game, and I'm definitely going to go back to it. I'm hoping the whole dying thing and losing progress won't turn me off, because there are save points, as I've said, but they're few and far between. But yeah, overall, very good game. Thumbs up.
And now we turn to SpongeBob's Truth or Square. My game of the month, as it's the one I went back to. I chipped away a little more of this. I've done the first few levels. It's a really unchallenging N64 style collectathon 3D platformer. I've got 5 minutes. I'm going to pop it on. It's quite pleasant. Not much more to say than was in the Adam's video, I guess. I enjoyed playing it. Did we make a video on this, or did you do this on your own, Adam? I can't remember.
I made this one on my own. I was unfortunately slightly ill before we could record together, so I had to do this one on my own.
I agree with so many of his points. I thought I was in the video. No, it's just a mindless, fun 3D platformer collectathon. Was starring SpongeBob. I kind of like SpongeBob, so yeah, I enjoyed it. Thumbs up. What about you guys?
Yeah, my notes. I've been writing notes this month, actually, and my notes for this one were nothing to complain about. The levels themselves are quite fun. I like the source material. I don't think 3D characters always work well in 2D, and I think they did pretty much what they could do in this case. It looks fine. I'd say definitely a kids game, but fun. I enjoyed the levels and gradually opening up the different areas. I thought it worked. Yeah. Oh, the music was good. I was timing my punches along with one of the music songs. You know what I mean? I can't speak today, can I? I love the special power ups. I like the combat. I like the idle animations as well. What they just do if you just leave them there. Yeah, it reminded me of the cartoon. I like the characters. I'm assuming it was the original voices. Yeah,
sounds like it.
I would say so. Yeah, that's. I mean, I don't know if I liked all the putting the stuff in the hub area, but I usually do like that kind of stuff. So I don't know why. Probably I didn't play enough of the game to actually collect enough to make it worth my while. I think upgrading your hub area, we talked about this in the past with other games, kind of makes you feel like you're progressing and making some, getting on there. So can't see why I didn't enjoy that, but I think I felt like I was just at a party and no one was talking to me half the time. That's a problem. But the game itself, yeah, I enjoyed jumping around the levels and sliding on my tongue and unopening new areas and trying to find hidden things. And yeah, good game. I enjoyed it. I did not go back to this, but I don't know why. I did enjoy it while I played it. I probably put a couple of hours into this, if not more.
Adam?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think I said it in the video. Just a really fun, relaxing type of game. And as you said, Shaun, like you can just turn it on and crack out a level in like 5-10 minutes, and yeah, it's great little game. So I actually really like the hub area. because I managed to collect a few items, and
Yeah.
as you go up to the items, there's a jug that you can collect quite early on. And I apologise, I don't know the characters' names. I haven't watched enough of the episodes to know them. But the squirrel character in the spacesuit, she drinks the jug and does a little sort of funny dance as she does it, and then throws it away. And each item you collect does something like that. I managed to collect a net, and Patrick runs around in the hallway with it. And there's lots of little things like that you can do. I upgraded the bed, and I've now got a dive board bed, so that's quite cool. And then I upgraded the bowl, Gary's bowl, and
I
he
saw
comes
that,
and
yes.
eats. Yeah, he comes and eats, and then goes and does a crap. So that's quite
Is it
fun.
at all possible to go near that snail without mimicking his meow? Can you do that?
No, it's really not. It's just, every time he did it, I find myself going meow. It's just so adorable. It's a snail, but it's going meow. I mean, how can you not like that? Even when I play it when I wasn't recording, I'm still to myself going meow. It's just, delightful little game. Absolutely delightful little game. Yeah, big, huge thumbs up from me.
And last, we have Street Power Soccer. This one I did play with Adam on the video, and I don't like football, so I didn't care. I really liked the animation, but that's about it. Guys, what do you think?
My notes for this one were an endearing level of cheapness. I will explain.
That's really good. I like that.
I liked it because there's a lot around. First of all, the general mechanics of the game, I think, are fine, and I think you can get the basics quite quickly. It will take a while to master them properly, and that's a kind of a good sign of a game for me. I think you can do good shooting. Like if you're playing on your own against AI stuff, then fine. If you're playing against other people, that's fun as well. I really liked your video on this, you two. It actually hyped me up to go back to it. I didn't, but it hyped me up that I wanted to go back to it. I played it single player. I couldn't really fault the gameplay, but I was really... I like the way it was packaged. It was... I say liked in a weird way. It's... The character models are basically... they're obviously based on real people, but they're like as if drawn by a street caricaturist. So they're a bit weird. They play quite well. There's some selection for characters, but they don't seem... But you seem to not always get the one you choose, or I don't know. It seemed a bit weird. I chose the one that looks a bit like Janet from The Good Place. That was fun. The presenter, who suddenly is a real human being on a green screen, when previously it was models, I don't understand, comes on... First of all, he comes across a bit jaded from not having a proper football career. It's like, I wanted to play football properly, then I got injured, and now I'm making this game.
Yeah, totally.
His presentation style is like somewhere between... like he's doing a corporate E3 presentation, and also he's presenting Eurotrash at the same time. He's all over the place.
Yeah.
And he talks for quite a long time between bits. But I quite liked it. So generally speaking, it was fun in that sort of crap way. Did you say in the video it was naff, or is that a different video? I can't remember. But naff is the word, I think.
I think I did say naff.
It's colourful. And I think the gameplay's there fun. I actually enjoyed it, and I did want to go back. And then I saw your video, and I thought, I definitely want to play this again, because it did look like you were having fun. So I'm actually surprised you didn't have as much fun as you seem. But it seems like sort of game I could play with another real person and have a laugh with. But I didn't play with anybody but myself. Oh, sad.
I think mentally the fun I was having was knowing that with each second on the clock ticked was one less I would ever have to play this again.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad. I just don't care about football. That is the long and the short of it.
Okay. Well, of all the football games, this has been one of my favourites. There you go. I can't think of another football game I've played, but yeah, go on. Adam.
I don't like football games as a rule, which is surprising to most people because I actually really like playing football in real life. But for some reason, something has never quite clicked with me in football games. I don't know why. However, this game, I think I found the fun in it in an online type of thing. So playing with Shaun, really, that's where I got the fun out of this game. Playing with someone else and having a laugh.
So between you and Jason, I think the takeaway of this is that I'm fun. So the game's the problem, but I'm quite fun. Everyone likes Shaun.
Just to repeat, not to burst your bubble, but it could have been any one of my mates. But yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. Shaun's fun. But no, the tricks do add quite. Not a unique element, that's not the word I'm after, but a different kind of element to what normal football games are like for me. So that was quite interesting to do as well. I agree with Jason about the presenter. He does rabbit on for a long time. In fact, I actually put the controller down at one point and took the headphones off, walked away, came back, and he was still going on. And it was like, oh, God, have you not shut up yet? Have I got to press a button? Can I skip? But yeah, I get, it's his game and he wants to present it. I get that, but perhaps talk a little bit less. And get more to the gameplay. After all, you're playing a game, you want to play the game. You're not there to just sit through a presentation of why his football career failed and just that really bugged me. But
he tried to gloss over it.
yeah, it's like he touches on it. And then he goes really in depth there, and then he tries to gloss over it and tries to laugh it off. Oh yes, but I'm now making this.
There's a thing he says quite near the beginning, which is he says to like real football players, "You don't need these skills to play football, but you can't do these skills." And I'm thinking, yeah, but they don't need these skills to play football. You've just said that.
Exactly.
I'm paraphrasing. I have a quick question to the pair of you, because I didn't play multiplayer. How easy is it to get a multiplayer game started?
Yeah, I don't think we had a lot of problem.
Oh, good, because sometimes we do.
Yeah.
I think it was. I think it was really smooth on this one, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, very smooth. Yeah, very easy. Yeah, you just go into the lobby, invite your mates, and away you go. Yeah, but overall, I don't really like football games, but I'll give this a generous 6.
Oh, we're scoring now, are we?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't going to, but
6 out of what?
A
6 out of
6
6?
out of 10.
Out of 10? Out of 14? Out of 100?
I wasn't going to score it, but I couldn't quite convey. It's not quite a thumbs up for me, so I'll go with a 6 out of 10.
That's fair, but can I ask a question? A very important question. One Jason has heard from me many times before.
Oh, God.
What do you consider a 5?
A 5?
I consider a 5 perfectly average, right? Because 0 is the shittest of the shit, and 10 is perfection. Therefore, 5 should be directly in the middle. Whereas a lot of people will think average or okay is a 7 or an 8, which is bollocks. It's not in the middle.
No.
But I just want to know where your scale lands.
So my scale is exactly that. 5 is bang average type of game.
Bang in the middle.
And as I enjoyed the online multiplayer aspect of it, and I generally enjoyed myself playing the game, but I hate football games in general, that's why I'm giving it a generous 6.
Very good. Well, that is the Games with Gold for March and April 2022. So what else have you guys been playing? Adam, I'll throw it to you first.
Not too much, actually.
Jason, I throw it to you.
Part of the part of this
Adam.
month, I've been ill, so that's been fun. But the other part, I've been building our Olympic Stadium. So I've been doing the outside of the Olympic Stadium. I've now cleared all the ground around. For those that are new to the series, I do this in Minecraft. And go check the series out. We got Dinos Olympics, and probably we'll be doing one hopefully this year. So look out for that. But yeah, so I'm building part 3 of the stadium, which is the outside surround, so the entrance halls and all the food courts and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been spending most of my time doing that and Games of Gold. So other than that, that's me. I'm done.
Well, I look forward to seeing your progress. Jason, go ahead.
Yeah. Played a couple of things. The first one I only just remembered I played was there was either a weekend or you got a free 5-hour demo of Cyberpunk 2077. So I thought I'd see what all the fuss was about that. Probably of my free 5 hours, I spent the first hour or so creating a character, and then remembered it's a first-person game, and I don't really see that character.
50 minutes of that was on the penis.
I played a woman. Sorry.
50% of that was on the breasts.
It was more on the hair. No, I made actually a very nice looking woman. But apart from that, that's not the game. I then thought I'd play it, and I played through it. And I'm assuming this is the game that had a lot of issues to start with, right? But not necessarily on the console I'm playing it on. Is that correct? I know you had some issues.
No.
Is that right?
This has only just got the Series X update. Was sometime in March, I think. So I finally reinstalled it. It still isn't what it is on the PC, but it's now in the state it should have been when it was released. Let's put it that way. So a lot of the complaints have now been dealt with a year and a bit too late. I actually still can't. I've reinstalled it and I can't bring myself to play it because I'm still actually angry about it. The state it came out and me paying £50 on day of release.
Well, I got 5 hours for free. And for free, it's absolutely fine. But as I've said before, I'm not that keen on first-person games. That's the only real thing that's put me off of it. Because I quite like the world and the characters and that, and the gameplay was fun. I just don't like first-person stuff. And as I've now got to pay for it, I'm probably not going to go back. But that was okay. But also, I just hit myself in the head. Excuse me. Ow. Also... I just whacked my headphones. I have also been playing a game called The Longest Road on Earth. Have either of you heard of it? Or played it?
The name rings a bell.
No.
It is not on Game Pass. I had to buy it. It was like £8. So to set the scene, I should make it clear and put a disclaimer out there. I'm the sort of person that appreciates long train journeys and sitting in waiting rooms and like having no responsibilities and just like waiting for stuff. I quite like that. That's painting that picture before I go on about how I like this game, because I think it's only for certain people and other people might not like it. It's a simple, peaceful game. It sounds incredibly pretentious. It's black and white. It's pixel art. It's described as a passion project where you experience the most mundane moments of life, all accompanied by a soundtrack performed by the game developers. It could be awful. It isn't. I actually enjoyed it. It's a very slow game. Oh, sorry, even the blurb on the Xbox Marketplace says, is it even a game? So all I'll say is it's an experience that moved me to tears.
Where's tears of boredom?
No. So I don't know when it happened, because I'll try to explain what the game is briefly about. You can't really spoil it because there's not really a plot as such, and I'll explain why in a minute. It's basically only about 3 hours long. You play anthropomorphic animals, short stories, but they're not really stories. You're just basically experiencing the bits that would be taken out of other games or other stories. It's the bits in between, like having a shower or making some coffee or having a chat at a water cooler, that sort of thing. It is just the mundane bits of life, and you're just sort of plodding through them. It's sort of set in, I'm guessing, latter half of the 20th century, Middle America. There's no massive plot twists. You play like 4 different characters over the 3 or so hours. What is it? Right, try to explain it. it's hard to get across why I liked it, because I didn't like it to start with. I thought, oh, it's just a boring little thing, but as it went on, I kind of got invested in the characters, despite the fact basically they sort of feed you information enough that you can start adding your own layers of narrative over the top of it, and so I think you bring your own story and that to it. It's like this character will go there, or it'll be chatting to someone, or it'll be looking at a postcard on a fridge or something, and you can kind of make your own story about that. So there is music tracks all sung, usually on guitars, a bit folky, bit sort of indie type songs, playing in the background all the time, and your gameplay basically lasts the length of the song. But the things you're essentially doing is waiting for a bus, mopping a floor, queuing. There's a section where you queue. This is all you do. You're in a line, you join the queue, you gradually take steps forward to get to the front of the queue, then you get somewhere, then you're inside somewhere, and then you start. I don't know, you might work in a factory at that point, I don't know. Basically, there's no way I can sell this as an interesting game, I don't think. But if you enjoy the mundanity of life, and the in-betweeny bits that you don't really appreciate, it kind of overtook me. And there's a bit, particularly towards the third and fourth characters, particularly when you start playing as a very young child, because that sort of then started playing on bits of my life which I don't actually experience anymore, like playing with toys, and you're sort of experiencing these little elements of things and getting sent to stand in the corner and stuff like that. Short story is, I don't know why I liked it, but I started layering my own life and bringing my own memories to the fore, and so
I'm sure that's
I
intentional.
found myself crying.
Sure that's part of what they were thinking when they were making it.
Yeah, so it's just like vague hints at what the story is. You lay your own life experience on top. I remembered like things that I did with my dad when I was a kid and stuff. All nice things, by the way. But it just brought up all these happy memories or sad memories, death and stuff. And I was crying before the end of it. And when the end credits came up, I shouted no because I wanted to play more of it. Wow. And then I did go back and start again. And I can't really justify why I liked it. It's an experience. And it made me feel stuff. So that's what I got from it. It's not a game as such. It's an experience.
Very different sounding way of presenting it. But a lot of the concepts you were saying and the way things aren't fed to you but are hinted reminds me of Unpacking, which is on Game
I've not
Pass
played
at the minute, which I have too. It's literally a game in which you have a series of boxes and you unpack them. So one will be, and it's basically someone moving through their life with every move they make. So there will be, Dan, the Nerdcube was talking about it. He said it made him cry at points. He was just explaining that, like, at one point there'll be, like, when you go to college, like, the toys start so the first time there'll be lots of toys and stuff, and then the toys start disappearing because they're becoming an adult, and when they move from there are less of those sort of things. But then sometimes you'll unbox and there'll just be the memory of, like, some keepsakes of someone who's died in between the moves. Jesus. And there's like, and it's not sitting there saying this person's died, but if you look at it, you're like, oh, I know why that's, oh, okay. And there's like, so he says there's one with when you move into a house with a long-term relationship, there's then another move and the other person's stuff isn't there. And like all stuff like that. And he says it paints it's like all you're doing is unpacking these boxes of this person's life and arranging it in a room, but it tells a deep emotional story with the most basic blocks of gameplay. So if you weren't aware of that definitely sounds like your kind of alley. If you enjoyed,
it is.
What'd you
sounds
say?
Great. I was aware of it. The Longest Road on Earth, which once I finished it, I understand exactly what that title means. But well, to me anyway. I guess again, it could be a personal thing. But yeah, the Longest Road on Earth. It was £8. If you'd have asked me halfway through the game, would I have paid for it? I probably would have still said no. I'd wait for it to come out for free. But just because of how I reacted to it at the end, or near the end, yeah, it was worth paying £8 for that emotional moment. I'm happy with that. It's nice to feel things. Yeah, but the unpacking one, I'll look into that because I just thought that was like another moving game, like the one we played before. I didn't realise that was
very different thing.
Yeah,
I've not. It's
I've
what
not
I was
looked at.
actually going to. It's one I've got downloaded. I was going to pick it up on my week off, and then something else happened, so I didn't get to play that. But is there anything else you've been playing, mate?
I don't think there is. No.
Cool. Well, we'll move on to mine. I can't remember what I said I was playing at the end of last month, but I was probably just finishing up Shantae Half Genie Hero, and then I went straight and played Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, both of which are previous games with gold, both of which took me, a week or two to beat. I really, really enjoyed them. They're both tight little 2D platformers with mild combat elements that you slowly gain more abilities as you go on, and that allows you to access new areas. Yeah. The writing and the character design I found absolutely hilarious and charming as heck. And yeah, I'd probably put 6 hours, 8 hours into each game, and have a thoroughly nice time. So it's probably just polishing them off. But the big ones are I finally tried Fallout 76. Because I frigging love the 3D Fallout games. You can come at me with your New Vegas is the only good one. Piss off. I like 3. I like New Vegas. I like 4. I like the little mobile game I've got where I make my own shelter. I am dead into the Bethesda era Fallout stuff. And I've even played the first one quite a bit. But I fucking suck at it because it's the kind of game I suck at. But I even enjoyed that. So, yeah, I really, really went into this with a thing of, okay, so I didn't buy it at the time because everyone said it was bad, but I'm sure I'll really enjoy it. And now they've added all this stuff, I've got some time, I'm finally going to sit down and play it. And, yeah, I didn't like it. It's...
Oh.
The problem is, one of the big problems I've got, one of the really fucking big problems I've got is one of the first things that came up was an advert saying, oh, pay us so much a month and you don't have to take this online, which I don't want to play it online with other people. But I'm like, fuck off. I'm not paying you for that. I bought your fucking game. That is the money you get from me unless you have something very specific to offer. Again, I've bought all the DLC for... all the offline story mission DLC for Fallout 3, 4, and Vegas. I'm not paying you to fucking not have to pay online. But anyway, I digress. But I was immediately struck by, for a game that's entire conceit is you're supposed to constantly pick up shit, right? I was immediately struck by the fact that I couldn't interact with half the things I can in Fallout games I've played previously. And that was a massive turn-off. Like, so just the crates that are around, items like plates and knives and forks and all this bollocks that you've had in God knows how many Elder Scrolls before they got Fallout, and you've always been able to pick them. You just can't pick them up anymore. They don't go into your inventory. And it's like, I'm immediately like, why am I going to play a worse Fallout game? Like, I was expecting it to be not as good, but I was expecting the love I have for those games to easily be able to carry me through a mediocre experience. But I'm already like, you've taken away like a huge chunk of this game already, and I've barely even started. Like, I'm going to have a look online and see, just to get a vague idea if the story's good. Because if the story's worth playing, then yeah, I'll probably try and soldier. Because I've got no interest in the crafting and building side of things, which I know is a big part of this game. I will suffer through it if I have to. Like in Fallout 4, my every area, because you have to make settlements in that. because as was the style at the time. So it's literally, I got the cheapest fucking metal boards. I've made a ring around the things, and I've chucked a load of turrets around it, and then I fucked off because I don't want to do it. I'm not interested in doing it. I don't want to build a fucking settlement. I don't care. So
Okay.
that being the core conceit of this was always worrying, but it's like, if I'm going to be able to play this as I would a normal Fallout game, which is what I believe they'd now turned it into, yeah, I will play more of it, and I hope I can enjoy it. But where we currently are, I think this is going to be the Fallout game that I don't play, and that's really, really sad for me as a player, but also for Bethesda for releasing a... I find I don't get angry very much with companies releasing trend hopping games. I find it kind of pathetic and sad, and that's where I feel about Fallout 76. They tried to jump on a trend, it failed miserably, and even if someone like me, who is more than willing to put aside what's probably a mediocre game to get more of a genre I am somewhat starved for, if even I can't play it, well, that's just really sad. But it doesn't matter, because I only played about 4 hours of that, and then I've made a couple of videos for the channel. I've recorded a lot for the channel. I made a lovely big video that came out last Friday at the time this goes out. But a delightful little game called Tunic dropped onto Game Pass.
Oh, yes.
And I have been
Yes.
playing that. I played that all last week, and I've been playing that all weekend. And yeah, it's delightful. I don't think it's got its problems. One of them being it's not so much got a difficulty curve as it's got a pretty flat difficulty followed by sudden, unbelievably violent kicks to your bollocks. And
a sheer cliff.
Yeah, I'm a bit stuck on the game. In delivering what it's doing and delivering what its story, it's got me hooked, but it's just done something which is the last thing I expected at a point I wasn't necessarily expecting it, and that has kind of fucked me a little bit. And they do something to level the playing field. I'm trying to be vague because I really don't want to spoil this game, because I think it is an excellent game and everyone should go play it. And really the journey it's taking you on, and we'll come more into this in a minute, is one worth going through, but it has fucking blindsided me, and I'm a little annoyed at it at the minute, but I know that once I get... It's a game that's... so it's... Look, like that first image is based... 100% based on The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. That is what that image is. And you'll go into quite a lot of this game trying to tackle it like that, and this game isn't to be tackled like that, at least as far as enemy combat goes. This game will kick your ass, regardless of how cutesy it looks. And that's kind of the situation I'm in at the minute. But, as my buddy Cormac likes to keep putting out every time we talk about this, one of the big hooks of this game is its non-linearity, which is certainly true for it's very much like A Link to the Past, but I think it's more open than the early stages of that. It kind of guides you along a path to an easier destination, so it's more... All of the world is open to you from the start, and you can go wherever you want to achieve your tasks. But it doesn't tell you what any of those tasks are. You have to get them through context. And you can just find yourself wandering into an area that realistically is probably the third area you should be tackling, but there's nothing to tell you that, and you either persevere with it, and it'll kick your ass, or you can go back and find something else to do. And it took me a little while to get my head around this, because it's very... it's just not a style of game that's very common. Like, even if I know people like to think things like Assassin's Creed are non-linear, or GTA. Oh, well, you've got this big open world, you can do what you want. But that's not actually true. There's a limited amount of things you can do at any one time before you do something to progress, and then you can do the other thing. And that kind of is true here after a point, after I played quite a lot of it. But when you first start, you are dropped into a world with nothing, and you're told nothing, and you just have to walk around, and eventually you'll find enemies, and you'll be like, okay, so I assume I need something to attack them with. So you walk around until you find something to do that with. It took me a dog's age to realise there's a shield in it. Despite it being on that fucking picture when the game loads up, I didn't find it. I didn't come across the shield in my playthrough. I'm like, oh well, maybe it comes later in the game, or maybe there just isn't a shield. I don't know. I didn't even think about it. So I'd got to what I believe is, well, I'll put it this way, I'll put it vague. I got to the boss at the end of the Western Garden, right? The West Garden. So if you've played the game, you know what that is. If not, I've not spoiled anything. It's one of the big bosses, okay? And I'm fighting this thing without a shield. And I'd also not understood that you could upgrade your character. I didn't know you could do that. So I'm just trying to fight this thing. I've got the sword by this point, and I'm trying to fight this thing with the basic weapon with no additional stats and no shield. And my mate did say to me, so it's got this really cute mechanic that you don't pay attention to because you're not trained to pay attention to it. You'll find like a little glowing diamond sat around, and you'll click on it, and that is a collectible, and that is a page of the instruction manual. You can bring it up on screen at any time, but you can only look at the pages that you have found. That needs to be scoured, because there's an in-game language that is not translated and never is translated. But all the context keys you need for everything you can do in the game, and there's also warnings, there's how to equip things, all this stuff is contextually laid out in the manual. You've just got to familiarise yourself with that manual, which I've not had to do probably since the SNES. It's a remarkable bit of... It's both a remarkable way of teaching you how to play its game. It's also beautiful in the way that it allows you to do what I did and just kind of be like, well, fuck it. Obviously, I know what's happening here. So you just swan around until you get something that is way, way, way harder than it needs to be. And you're just like, oh, there's got to be something wrong here. And eventually your mate says to you, read the fucking manual, you idiot. The game is trying to tell you. Like, fine, I'll look at the manual. Oh, there's all these things I can do. Oh, shit. But it's a really, really clever, really, really well-constructed game that I even quite enjoy the difficulty spikes. I think they could maybe do with a tiny bit of tuning. They are, like, really, really, really cranked up from where you are. But... to the point that there was about 2 hours where I was just walking around fighting secrets because I got stuck on this boss, and I knew what I had to do. And again, it's partially my fault. It's because I'm not a particularly patient gamer. I can normally get down your core mechanics and and rush my way around things, but I don't really like waiting and being patient when to strike. So there was
I know. I've played games with you. Yes.
Absolutely. So part of the difficulty,
I know how this works. La, 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 la.
yeah, part of the difficulty is also I don't like to play games that make me wait. I like when I've got a sword and stuff, I like to be in there just dodge rolling and stuff like that. I don't like to be standing 7 paces away with my shield up and then thinking. But the combat in it is super fun and always a little bit challenging, which is really, really nice. But yeah, I absolutely adore Tunic. I don't know. I tried to put it over in my video, but with each additional hour I've played the game, my mild frustration aside, I've loved it more and more. It is, I'd say it's probably the second best thing on Game Pass right now, behind Infernax, which is just a little more my cup of tea. But it's a fucking close second place. So, like I say, by the time I finish it, it might even slightly overtake Infernax, but I doubt it because there's not a contra mode in Tunic, as far as I'm aware. If that happens, then perhaps it will overtake. But no, yeah, go play it. If you've not already played Tunic, go play it. It's fucking delightful.
Nice.
I haven't, but I watched your video and that sold it to me. You clearly liked what you'd played at that point, and I think you were still very early at that point by the sound of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, got me intrigued. I might give. Well, I was intrigued then. Now you made it sound it's really hard. I might give up on it and not actually bother. But what a nice little cutesy walk around game where you hit things with sticks. That looked like fun. I'll do that.
Hey, look! I've given you the key you need. Read the manual. Look for the pages. Pick them up. Read the manual. It tells you everything
doing
you
that
need to
watching
know.
the video. I could see that in the video that you weren't reading it. I'm going, well, it tells you there, mate. What are you doing?
I've got a question. You said that the language is never translated to you. I take it the manual you find isn't in that language.
No, it is.
Oh, it
There's
is.
pictures.
Yeah. But
So you
there
just
are
got to
pictures.
decipher it by pictures.
Yeah, there's
Right,
context rather than specifically
Right, okay.
tell it. And there's a couple of words in English here and there, scattered around. One of them is "you will die" or "it will kill," something like that, where it's like a vague picture of the first boss I got to without a lot of the stuff I needed. Because the video I put out was me playing it with the video. I just restarted the game after that and was just like, okay, lovely. Now I get to play it without having to talk over it, and now I can just bask in its glory because it is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And that's what we've been playing. But what have we been watching? Who wants to go first?
Ooh. I've only got one thing, so I can get it out the way quick.
Go on then.
I've been watching quite an old series that my wife put me onto, Psych.
All right.
Yeah, I had never seen it. I didn't know anything about it. Perhaps I've been living under a rock because apparently it was quite the series. And as I'm researching this because I'm getting into it, the series goes on to about 2014, but then after that they've made a series of movies that goes all the way up to 2021, and they're going to make another movie in this year or next year. But yeah, so it's a series that's kind of like still ongoing. But it's basically about this guy who is played by, if I can find his name, I've just gone off of it for crying out loud.
What are you doing, man?
I had it all set. There it is. So, James Roday, and he plays a character called Shaun Spencer. And Shaun Spencer is a guy with an ability of detail. So he can look in a room and spot higher profile details of that room. So in other words, if it's a murder, he can go into a murder scene and pick out these details that will give him an inside track to the the killer, or to solve the murder, or to solve the puzzle, or whatever it is. And he can do that with people as well. So he can look at a person and look at the details and pretty much guess their life. To the point that people don't believe this ability. So in order to, I won't spoil it too much, but in order to progress with the career that he wants with his best friend, Gus, he has to pretend he's psychic. So you get this lots of situations where people will come in for like readings and stuff like that, and he basically uses his ability to pick up on details and stuff like that and blags his way through a psychic kind of reading. And he's helping the police department, Santa Barbara Police Department, and it's really, really funny, really delightful. My kind of series. The best friend is played by, if I'm pronouncing this correct, Jewel Hill. The E is hyphenated, so I'm guessing I'm pronouncing that correctly. And the lead detective is Timothy I can't even pronounce it myself. Munderson. Yes, that's the one. Well done. Thank you. And yeah, that I don't really know many of the actors, but
Oh, it's got Sybil
I haven't
Shepherd
really
in
seen
it.
them
She used to be a
before.
big deal.
Yeah, I don't really recognise them too much. I'm not really up on any of the actors, but I have to say they're all delightful. They do a fantastic job, and yeah, definitely. If you haven't seen it or you don't know much about it, go watch it. It's great. I've almost finished season 1, so I've got like 8 seasons to get through, and then 3 movies after that. So yeah, I've got a lot of stuff to watch ahead of me. But I'm watching it on Now TV, if that helps. That's what I'm watching it on. I don't know if it's on anything else, but yeah.
Oh, there's another surprise here for you. Between season 7 and 8, there is Psych the musical.
Ooh.
No, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. There's actually meant to be, I've read in here, there's like in one of the seasons there's a bit of a cartoon
Oh, wow.
section of Gus and I've already forgotten Shaun and Gus as kids. So yeah. Oh, that's another thing about it as well. It almost every single episode starts with like a cold start of them as kids, and how the episode kind of leads on from an experience he had as a kid, and his father's like this hardcore police detective and is very kind of strict on him in a kind of nice kind of way. And yeah, it's delightful. It really is. It's a good series. Really good series. Real fun series to watch.
Jason, are you watching anything?
I'd just like to comment on that. I had heard of that show. I've been looking at pictures of it, and I don't recognise anything about it at all. So I'll have a look at that. In the last month, speaking about musicals, and following last month's Dinocast, I did watch the new West Side Story, which was good. I enjoyed it, but I did remember thinking all the way through it, that actress is bloody amazing, and she's acted everyone else off the screen, and she's just won an Oscar. So I feel like I was right all the time. But yeah, she plays a great role in it and was very, very good. Anyway, I also watched Spider-Man No Way Home, which is very good. I enjoyed it. Yeah, finally got around to that. Although, where's that DVD I bought ages ago? That's not turned up yet. Anyway, I also watched The Adam Project. Have you seen that? Netflix.
Nope.
Ryan thingy.
Oh, the Ryan Reynolds thing.
The Ryan Reynolds thing.
Oh,
That's fun. Basically, I won't go into too much, but he's I think he's from now or from the future. But anyway, he goes back. It's him and his younger self is basically the plot. He meets his like teenage self, and it's about time travel, and that all the time travel kind of works out, and it's quite fun, and it's all humorous, and it's the usual Ryan. Why do I keep going to call him Ryan Gosling? It's the usual Ryan Reynolds character, but it works and it's fun, and the little kid's quite a good copy of that character, and yeah, lots of fun. I enjoyed it. I recommend it. I'm always a bit I don't know, I always overlook these Netflix things and just think, oh, they're just made up by, oh, these work well in other films, we'll just stick it together and it'll work. And to be fair, I mean, that's how most films are made probably, but it does work. It worked quite well. I enjoyed it. It was nice. However long it was, 2 hours, I enjoyed it. Lots of fun. If you get a free evening, watch it.
I've got a thing with Ryan Reynolds in that I can only stomach so much of the thing he does. Like, so I try, unless he's doing Deadpool, and even that's quite rare, I try to only watch one thing of his every couple of years. And
okay, rations,
the poster of this, like, I've heard good things about it, and it sounds like it could be my kind of thing, but the poster of this just made it look fucking dire, and I was just like, it's going to be one of those things that I'm going to watch and hate Ryan Reynolds in, and then not want to watch his stuff for a while. That's why I'm quite selective. I'm a bit selective with Chris Pratt as well. I think Chris Pratt is very, very good, but he does one thing, and I can only tolerate so much of that one thing. But you reckon this is really good, yeah?
I mean, I don't want to oversell it. It was a good, fun evening. The plot makes sense for a time travel thing that actually is quite unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It's about family, so if you're into that sort of thing, that's good too. And the characters are relatively well developed for what it is. So yeah, I had fun. Yeah, it was. I recommend it. It's another one of these things I did ages ago and really forgot about until earlier today. And then the other thing I watched was Hawkeye, where I'd seen the first episode and then I hadn't watched any more, and then I watched all of the rest of the episodes pretty much in one evening. Now, Shaun, you have mentioned several times that you either don't like the last episode or there's something in it you don't like, or something is a bit off about it for you. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, it's a very specific thing I don't like about it.
Okay. I thought generally it was fun and okay, and I'm happy that that's how the series ended. Was it at all related to either a particular antagonist or generally how things were wrapped up? Or is it not that at all? Without giving spoilers, obviously.
Without giving any spoilers, yeah, I wasn't overly happy with the way that... I didn't like... I felt the tone of everything for the last episode changed into Christmas romp, whereas before there were elements of that, but it still felt like a more grounded and serious thing.
Yeah.
And then the last episode is just hijinks, and I didn't like that. And I do not at all like what they did with, here comes the spoiler, everyone, Kingpin. I like the bit where he was...
Be your issue.
Well, I don't see why he had... I don't like what they did with Kingpin at all. I don't like the way they scripted him. I don't like the way they filmed him. I don't like the way that when he's finally in the fight and he's murdering the little girl, which is exactly how that should have gone, because, you know, he was the ruthless killer and he's been up against the best of the best and she's just an untrained novice. I don't like the fact that they changed, like, it was switched to Marvel physics. I'm used to him in the Netflix shows. You punch someone, it's got weight, they go down like a ton of bricks. They don't fly up into the air and spin 3 times across the room. I was so excited for him to be in it. And then he comes out and he gets himself into a restable position. And the thing at the very end that you may have thought I really disliked, that is directly from the comics with Echo's first appearance. So that was okay. I really hated that they... By the time it starts getting towards the end, I really hated that they announced they were doing a bloody spin-off Echo series before the series had finished. Because I'm like, I was quite enjoying that and the way it was going. And I'm like, oh, well, now he's in it, so I know how this is going to end. They completely spoiled it for me, how all of it was going to end. But yeah, I was just... the last episode really, really let down what was up to that point a very fun kind of buddy cop thing. I think it was adding the third lead hero. If shit had been dealt with in episode 4, which seemed to be the case, I think the last episode wouldn't have tripped over itself so much. That and if they'd have just watched fucking Daredevil and gone, oh, that's how you write the perfect Kingpin. Okay, we'll just do that then. Did like that he was wearing a Hawaiian shirt with a white suit.
Yes.
Though. That's straight from a Spider-Man comic, Family Matters, I think it was called. Not one of my favourite stories, but that's for another time. But that outfit is awesome as fuck. I was really happy to see that. But yeah, I mean, it's still Vince D'Onofrio doing his Kingpin thing, so he's still managed to be one of the single most entertaining things in the entire series, with him being a grainy picture in one of them. In one episode. But yeah, very, very disappointed with all of that in the last episode. It didn't ruin it for me, but it's one of those things that up until that point, like Loki I can watch again. I enjoyed all of that. But if I went to watch Hawkeye again, I'd be like, oh yeah, but they fluffed the ending, so maybe I won't watch that.
Yeah.
Which is really disappointing.
Okay, I didn't mind the ending. I thought it worked for what it was. I do.
Yeah, sorry, Jason.
Understand.
You brought this to the table. What did you think of the thing you wish to talk about?
I'm bringing it to the table for us to discuss as a group. This is a group therapy session. It's fine.
That ain't how Batman's going to work. I can assure you of that.
Had I watched it and not known you didn't like it, I probably would have got through it. I thought, fine. I do agree. That particular character, did he really need to be there? I'm not sure. It did seem he took on a bit cartoon physics at the end, then the things happen. You think, well, is that really going to happen or not going to happen? It's a bit like what they did in The Mandalorian, where bringing in another character from another property, which you kind of have to have seen that to know what's going on. Otherwise, you're only getting introduced to it in this show for like tiniest amount of time, and then, well, we're just moving on with something else. It's Christmas hijinks, as you say.
Yeah.
Didn't have an issue with the third hero. Thought that was fine, although that was well spoiled for me. I knew who that was going to be, so the delayed reveal didn't really work on me for that one.
Yeah, I just felt that it adding her kind of split the focus too much from what they were doing, which was the buddy dynamic between the two Hawkeyes. I felt it broke that dynamic a bit. I mean, I love the bit where he was dicking around in the tree and she was trying to... That was really fun. It was more when they got down to the ice rink that I was like, okay, I'm kind of done with this.
I do think you can get away with more things if you just say it's at Christmas.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, anyway. But yeah, that was fun, and that's what I have been watching.
That's all you've been watching? Okay.
I mean, I've been watching other things too. We can talk about other things if you want.
Anything of note?
I mean, I saw Batman. The Batman.
Oh, we'll come on to that. We will come on to that.
I think what Sean's asking is, do you want to say anything for the next hour? Because Sean's about to go into something.
No.
What could he possibly have to say that we haven't already covered in 18 episodes of a Batman-related game?
Okay, right. So, I have seen, over the last month, one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. The rest of the anime of Cowboy Bebop is one of the best things I've ever seen. It's fucking incredible. I'd saved basically, oh god, I don't want to spoil it, but it's one of those things that feels like it's telling you where it's going in the first episode, even though most of the episodes seem unrelated. And occasionally, like, Cowboy Bebop is this weird kind of quite relaxed space bounty hunter romp, and every now and then it just throws in a super bleak, dead serious episode. And I stopped at about episode 15 or 16. And it was one of those things where I was legitimately liking it so much I didn't want to end in the way I felt it was going to end. And I'm not going to spoil it. It's on Netflix. This is the anime, not the remake. This is the original anime. But fucking hell, it really got me. It really, really got to me. It's some incredible writing, some incredible characters. Obviously, the animation is fantastic. There's a reason that to this day, Cowboy Bebop is largely regarded as one of the greatest animes of all time, and it is fucking incredible. So I finished that last month. Picard came back with season 2. That is off to a fucking blinding start. I loved season 1. I have friends who are really big Star Trek fans, and they don't like the direction it's taken the last decade or so. They say it doesn't feel like Star Trek kind of thing. Fair enough. I'm not. I'm into different interpretations of things, so I don't think a thing has to be a specific version of a thing to be quote-unquote correct. But I think part of their frustration... Well, let's put it this way. They all enjoyed Enterprise, which I think we'll all agree is garbage, and they hated the first season of Discovery, which, while not feeling like classic Star Trek, I think is great storytelling. Season 2 was awful, but season 1 of Discovery was phenomenal.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah, and then we got Picard, and Picard feels like, whether it feels like a Star Trek, quote-unquote Star Trek show or not, Picard feels like a loving and incredibly detailed examination of the character of Jean-Luc Picard. And that's exactly what I wanted, because I love how much of himself Patrick Stewart put into that role, and I love who that character is. He is probably my favourite. He's one of my favourite characters in all of sci-fi. Picard, if I had to, name a few. And season 1 was absolutely fantastic. I had a couple of quibbles with it, one of which is dealt with right in the first episode of season 2. But so far, season 2 is actually even better. It's done a really, really cool thing. I like the idea. There's a mild spoiler. This was in the trailer, but mild spoiler for a character's in it. In 3, 2, 1, Q comes back, and I'm always fascinated by that kind of character. Like, I like Mr. Mxyzptlk in Superman. Like, he's basically this capricious, whimsical sprite that has literally the power to, in any way, change and shift the universe at its own whim, and it's here to play a morality game. That is right up my street. And he comes back in season 2, as does the Borg, and it's like, oh my fucking god, it's so good. And it's entirely...
I liked Q. Q was good.
Q's great. And it's just hung on Patrick Stewart's performance of a older... it's an older, more weary Picard. The setting of season 1 feels like he's been moved on from, whereas actually it's his unbelievable and unwavering strong moral core that he is right. Like, he is right, and everyone else is wrong, and that, like, this series is predicated on that. And now they're testing him again, and it's so wonderful. Like, that is so what I want from that character. A man who is authoritative, but based solely on the conviction that he is right. And obviously, he is right. Like, that's fantastic. There's so much you can do with that, and they are doing it, and it's fucking wonderful.
I liked the first series. The first series was awesome, so I'm looking forward to watching the second.
Oh, it is off to I think we've got 4 episodes so far. It is off to an absolutely cracking start. And I have another recommendation.
Ooh.
Go on.
This is not so much for the faint of heart. I've had to watch this in parts because I can be a bit squeamish about this kind of thing. Hardboiled Gourmet Report. Now, this
Wow.
is on Netflix. On Netflix.
Netflix.
It is Netflix. It is a Japanese food show. But basically, what happened was this guy got a camera, and it's shown. So you've got a presenter, but it appears that the presenter is seeing this footage for the first time, and he has to present over it, kind of with what he's been told about it and off the cuff, and using the context of what's in the videos.
Yeah.
So the idea is that it is bringing the world together through food, but it is showing you the most extremes of how that can work. So this journalist, it's almost Louis Theroux-esque. So this journalist got a camera, and he just goes to some of the hardest places you can possibly go to build a bond with the audience via showing the food they eat. So the first the first episode starts by going to Liberia, and it starts in this tiny little market where everyone is unbelievably poor, but they're all cooking food, and it's all quite, you've got that jolliness that you expect. So you're like, okay, and then it kind of takes a turn, and he finds some people who are selling the aid rations that are supposed to be given out for free. And then he goes on a bit further, and he meets... he's already met this woman, but he goes back to eat with her and her family. And it's her... She's got, like, this room probably the size of, like, one of our bedrooms or something, maybe a little larger. And that's her shop, and that's where her and her kids live. And then he goes a little further out of town, and he meets survivors of a plague that run through there. I can't remember what which one it was, but he goes and meets with them, and they're all sees what they eat, and they're all like, because they're treated like lepers, they're kept outside, and he's speaking to a girl, and all of her family's died of this, and she's been chucked here, and that's where she has to live. And then he goes, okay, yeah, but where I'd really like to go is to that over there. And he points to this, like, dilapidated looking thing, and his guide is like, yeah, no, we don't go there. Like, yeah, that's what I want to talk to. And it's this old graveyard, and walled within are all of the kids from when there was a civil war, and basically these children were abducted, given guns, and put in the street to shoot other people. And that era is past, and now they basically live in... They're kind of exiled to this little graveyard area where they're all constantly on drugs, they have no money, they have no food, and things get incredibly scary. And it's showing what they eat. It goes through how they had to resort to cannibalism. Not in the show, obviously they don't have to do it now, because now there is food around and stuff, but it goes through that. So it's not an easy watch, but it is an interesting one. It is a very interesting one. It's done... The thing I could liken it most to is Louis Theroux, because... But it's also done through another filter, because, as I say, you've got this presenter in the top right-hand corner presenting the show, and he appears to be watching this footage for the first time while that was recorded. So he's kind of having similar reactions to what they expect the audience to have when they're watching it for the first time. And, it's a really, really good show, but it is a very difficult watch. But that's probably not what you're all here to hear my opinion of, is it? There's a new Batman movie released at the start of March, wasn't there?
There was.
I saw it at the first proper showing in the UK as soon as I possibly could. It was really nice. It wasn't at midnight. It was at 7. Cineworld were allowed to do an earlier showing. So outside of like a test screening and stuff, oh god, that was so nice because it's 3 hours. It's 3 hours. It doesn't feel like it, but it is 3 hours, and that would have been 20 minutes of ads. That would have taken me. I'd been to work, so I'd have got up at 7 in the morning and then been out watching a movie till the better part of 3:30, and then I'd have had to drive home an hour because I went to see it at the IMAX in Ipswich. So it would have been a problem. But no, they put it on a sensible time, and I watched it, and I absolutely loved it. I've now seen it 4 times, and I'll be seeing it a 5th on Thursday. It is fucking fantastic. It is everything I want from a Batman movie, and it is a step beyond what any other good Batman movie, and even many bad Batman movies, have done in the past, in the fact that one of Batman's absolute key most important things is that he doesn't use guns, and he does not kill anyone, and he purposefully goes out of his way through this whole movie to not kill anyone. It's fucking awesome. There's also a fucking excellent Batman movie surrounding it. There's an excellent story surrounding it. Just taking the Batman out, it's a really fucking great story. There's a great movie. Like, the acting, the cinematography, just everything is so fucking good. And it feels the most like a proper comic book Batman. Or it looks like an interpretation based on comic book Batman. It feels like a darker, more violent interpretation, like almost in the style of Batman the Animated Series. There's so much of the same feel to a lot of it. It just, like, I'm not discount. I love the Tim Burton Batmans. I love the Chris Nolan Batmans. Like, this is again another interpretation. This isn't like the comics, but I feel there's more of the comics in this than there has been in a lot of interpretations. I love the Ben Affleck one as well. I forgot him. But it's been a little joke in the back of my head since I got big into Batman comics in the mid-90s. Like, as far back as probably Batman Forever, certainly Batman and Robin, terrible as that was. So I'm sitting there going, maybe this would be the Batman movie where Batman actually doesn't kill. Oh, no. Oh, maybe this time. Chris Nolan's movie actually makes a big thing of him specifically saying, I'm not going to kill anyone, and then he kills a bunch of people immediately thereafter. He kills the main villain in all of those films, despite saving the Joker because of his no-kill rule. It doesn't make sense, but in this movie, Batman does not kill anyone. He goes out of his way to not kill anyone, and that's fucking beautiful. Then there's this interpretation, the Riddler. The Riddler is one of my favourite villains. Do you know how many really good Riddler stories there are? It ain't many, because the character is problematic. The most interesting ways to do the Riddler always tends to be doing outside of his core conceit, which is that he sends puzzles based around his crimes. It really shouldn't be that difficult, but it so often is. And, like, I love the fact this almost feels like it's pissing in the eye of Batman Forever, because he does the same thing in this. In Batman Forever, he leaves notes to the Batman. He leaves little cards to Batman. They're just riddles a 5-year-old could get, and there's nothing additionally to it. Whereas this time, there's so much more to all of them, even though they're all guiding them in a very simple and direct way. I like the fact that this Batman is flawed and not omniscient. A lot of the puzzles, he gets a lot of the Riddler's puzzles, but there's stuff he doesn't know because he just wouldn't know it. Focusing on the carpet tool is a great example. That is center of shot in the middle of the screen, staring you in the face saying, this is an important thing, within a couple of minutes of the movie, but you don't know what it is other than a heavy murder weapon, so you don't think anything more of it. And it's the same with the characters in the movie until it's pointed out to them. I love stuff like that. Yeah, I love Paul Dano's performance as the Riddler was unbelievable, as this weird fucking fringe serial killer type with a weird sexual edge at points. I didn't see that coming. That was unnerving. But yeah, oh man, just his whole performance, everything about it is just fan-fucking-tastic. The fact that people don't seem to be picking up on this, he's also Hush. Like, he's both. It comes up in big letters on the screen with an exclamation mark. Like, he is the son of the reporter, Elliot. He's Hush and Edward Nash to the Riddler. It's both. So goddamn good. Loved this version of Catwoman that everyone, like, they're all parallels of each other from specifically Batman, Catwoman, and Riddler, each being orphans, and everything going on in the city is all paralleled through the lens of one of the three of them. But it's so wonderful that Catwoman has all of this shit going on before she meets Batman, and all of this shit going on through the movie to the side of Batman that comes in and intersects with his main plot and the main plot of the movie. The fact that Batman, Riddler does the same. Like, his plot intersects with Batman's rather than just being specifically aimed at Batman. It's so nice to get a movie in which we're getting a little more spoilery now, but the hero isn't unmasked by everyone. Like, when was the last time there was a comic book movie where any relevant character, quite often in the third act, the big reveal was, I've now taken off your mask and now this is personal. Like, they managed to weave a personal element into it without even specifically touching on that, and leave it more than open enough that when Riddler does find out, if he does find out, then shit is going to get incredibly serious.
Could I ask a question, actually?
Yeah. By all means.
What did you make of Robert Pattinson as Batman compared to the rest?
They're all interpretations. So Michael Keaton's Batman is phenomenal for what Michael Keaton's Batman is. Same with Bale, same with Affleck, same with Patterson. This version resonated with me. Right, so this Batman has a story arc. And it is told, again, it's in quite plain view, but they're not beating you round the head with it. And perhaps the perfect example is Martinez, Gordon's cop mate. And right at the start of the film, he stops Batman, "You're not going in here, you freak." And by the end of him, he's actually working with him. He tells Batman that what the carpet tool is, because he's softened, because he's coming round to seeing the good Batman's been doing. And through the movie, Batman gets cast in. At the start of the film, that's when you've got the "I'm vengeance." He's just beating on people, and as the film goes on, he works more with Gordon. He works more with Catwoman. He's starting to save more lives and stop more things. So rather than just being an angry, violent vigilante, which is so often the case, at the end of the movie, they finally made Batman into a hero. Someone who is going out into Gotham and inspiring it to be a better place. And like the Nolan movies made a big song of dance of, oh, you need to be more, that you need to be a hero, but who was he a hero to? Like, when was it shot? With the exception of the end of the third movie where he appeared to sacrifice himself, and then all of Gotham knew there was a Batman. Like, those movies don't convey and show people looking up to him and following him, and they don't show him trying to do good. They show him trying to stop the villain without becoming a villain. And that's not Batman's story. Batman's story at its core is... so Batman's story at its core is the little boy who wasn't killed with his parents, so he wants to make sure that never happens to anyone else. That's the thing that keeps getting lost. That's the thing that keeps getting lost in these movies. He's not just angry and violent about it. he is going out there to stop that happening to anyone else. It's a great part of the very first Tim Burton. That is the first scene. They make you to the few, and I didn't know this at the time in 1989 when this first came out. I didn't know the Wayne murder thing. That comes up later in the movie, but like the first few shots with them with taking the kid into the alley is all meant to make you think, oh, that's the Waynes and this is the origin, and actually he circumvents it because his Batman then stops it. He then just doesn't do anything else heroic for the next two movies except kill the main bad guy. But no, to be fair, he does get rid of the Joker's balloons and stuff, but in this one he starts working with the MTs and he starts working with the police. I freaking love this Gordon. This is probably my favourite adaptation of Gordon in anything ever. I love the fact they pal around with each other and they have banter, and Gordon holds his own and brings things to the Alliance that Batman doesn't have, as opposed to, say, in the animated series, their friendship was based on respect and Gordon almost being something of a father figure, the way Alfred also takes his place in the mythos. But in this, their dynamic was fantastic, and you really saw, without having to see some big moment that made them trust each other, you could see that it was them against the world, but Gordon repeatedly tries to show Batman, no, you can work with more police. There are more good police. It's not just us. And again, Batman's doing that by the end of the movie. He has an arc. He has a full character arc in that movie, and it's freaking glorious.
Nice.
Yeah, just what else is there to talk about? I love the sound editing. We went to see it at the IMAX the first time, and every time I've seen it since has been a massive downgrade because he's like, it's constantly raining, and all of the dialogue is kind of set at a certain level, and the score is kind of set at a certain level, and it is very cleverly moved throughout a really great sound system that everything's incredibly clear. That I noticed the difference when I went to see it in a normal cinema, that the sound kind of mixes together a lot more. But yeah, the sound is incredible. The cinematography is wonderful. Lots of black, but you can always see everything. Really like his costume. The fact that he's got the utility belt, but he's also got like the grapnel. Oh my god, the grapnel is back! For so long, Batman has just been using his cape as a glider. I really miss the grapnel gun. I love that thing, and that's like in his gauntlet, and the batarang is in his chest plate and stuff. That's all really super cool. Really super cool stuff that added to it. And I like that the back suit is heavy as well. They show that a few times, just to show how powerful he is. But yeah, it's an incredible movie. As a Batman fan, it has actually exceeded my expectations in every way, to the point that where we currently stand, I think it's my favourite live-action Batman movie of all time. And he can only improve on the second one, because the first one is so much establishing. Like, if he nails the second... Oh, Christ! Colin Farrell as the Penguin! That's an amazing Penguin! Like, you can barely see it's him, and he is just a fucking foul-mouthed badass who does not back down. Loved him. He's also quite funny when he gets the chance. But, yeah, that's a bit of talking about it, and it took significantly less than the 3 hours runtime. It doesn't feel like 3 hours. It's like The Dark Knight. When that came out, I was like, oh, that's like 2 hours. It doesn't feel like 2 hours. This, to me, does not feel like a 3 hour movie. It feels like an hour and a half to 2 hours. I absolutely adore it. The only problem I get is the fact that I'm plus 40, so sitting through a movie that constantly has rain and water sounds going through it does make me need a piss. I've managed to sit through it without actually going for a piss every time I've seen it so far, but when I get it on Blu-ray and stuff, it will be a case of, All right, so
Pause.
yeah, I know exactly where I'm going to pause it as well. It's just before the scene where it's going to be just at the moment before Batman goes to Arkham to visit Riddler. Yeah, so and they also, if you've not seen it, there's so much. The movie is very clever because almost everything has a parallel, and Warner Media have released a deleted scene, which is significantly earlier in the movie, which is Batman visiting Joker in Arkham.
I've seen that, yeah.
To get his viewpoint on the Riddler, on what the Riddler is doing. And if you watch that in context, if you've seen the movie, you'll see that there's so many parallels in when Batman then goes to see the Riddler, like thematically what's going on, what Riddler thought and wanted to happen, and what was actually happening in the other scene. They work really nicely. Friend of mine, when I saw it the first time, really didn't like that they popped a little Joker cameo on the end. He felt it undermined Riddler, and I disagree with that, but I do understand why they took the actual scene with Joker out, because I think that could have undermined Riddler. I think people would have. I think if you'd have put that in, say, the first hour, people would have been sat there going, okay, when's he going to get rid of the Riddler and Joker's going to break out? I think it might have overshadowed the rest of the movie, is why they possibly removed that. But it's still a great scene, and with everything else going in the movie, it still absolutely fits with all the theming and the paralleling that they're doing throughout. It's just a fucking wonderful movie. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Oh, good.
I said I'm going to go see it again on Thursday. That'll be 5 times in the cinema, and then it's going to be gone. So I got it in as much as I could. I saw it at least once a week, every week it was released in the cinema. So I wanted to go see it at the IMAX again, which we was going to do on Thursday, but fucking Morbius is on. Like, seriously, I'm going to go see Morbius, and I'm probably going to quite enjoy it. But Morbius is at best a D-list Spider-Man villain. He is. I laughed out loud because the trailer actually says, "Witness the birth of the new Marvel Legends." Like, this fucker ain't no legend. I'm sorry, but he's the weird living vampire dude who every second appearance will be a hero or a villain, because Marvel Creative don't have a fucking clue what to do with him, because his premise is really wide but also incredibly limited. He is a vampire. He wants to be good, but he has to kill. I mean, it's really hard to do, and Marvel keep tripping over it. But anyway, Sonic 2 is also out on Friday. Fuck, I can't wait for that. That's going to be awesome.
That. Yeah, that looks good.
I love the first one, and the trailer. Really annoyingly, the last time I went to see the Batman, I went to a different cinema, and they played another trailer for Sonic 2, and it spoiled something that's in the movie. I was like, oh no, it's a different trailer, it's got a thing, and I'm like, now even more excited to see this ridiculous thing, but I'm a bit annoyed it was spoiled for me, because I would have laughed out loud seeing that for the first time. But I'm not going to spoil it here. The movie's out next week, so, you know. Yeah. So, Jason, you've anything to say on the Batman?
Yeah. Overall, yes. Loved it. Loved the visuals. You said a lot of the things I'm going to say anyway. So, stylistically, the sound, as you say, there was a moment I actually looked up because I thought it was leaking in the cinema I was in.
Yeah.
Because it sounded like proper dripping in the room I was in. Maybe it was, I don't know. It did remind me of all the good, or the elements I like most about Gotham and the comics I read in. I haven't really read much recent Batman, but the 90s comics I used to read and some of the older 80s and like reprints of old ones. So I liked all that sort of stuff. So what I think Batman is, it's put that in place for me, and that's what I liked about it. It wasn't absolutely realistic. It was, slightly heightened and comic-y, so that was good. I liked the camera angles and choices, that sort of stuff, general stylistic thing.
Well, the thing is, Matt Reeves says that he wanted to be... It almost sounds like they pitched the first season of Gotham, like he wants it to feel real, and he wants the threats to feel real, but he also wants
Yeah.
to be able to use Mr. Freeze or Clayface or something and have not feel incongruous. And I think he did a really great job here. Like, you weren't sitting looking at Penguin, who got more penguin-like as the movie went on. You know, even like the last time you see it, he's got like the full purple suit and everything. Like, you're not sitting there thinking that he looks out of place, even though no one else has a weird prosthetic nose and fat makeup and everything like that. So yeah, it's got the scope for the more out there elements, whilst being as grounded as you can be with something like that.
Okay, my negatives for balance. Here's the negatives. Now I agree that most of these are purely on me, on my perception of it.
If you say that's not how I would have written it, I'm gonna just.
Well, it's not how I would have. No.
Steamroll.
Well, there's one thing I would have did differently. See, I can't even speak English, let alone write it. There's one thing I would have done differently, but I'll come to that at the end. Right, I wanted to go into this blind, and part of that, for some reason, I got it into my head just from the limited bits I'd seen of it. This was going back to more sort of independent film, kind of back to basics type of thing. And
Right.
with that, I was taking out the sort of sprawling epics of Snyder and Nolan and that. And I had it in my head, this would be like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Now, as you say, as a man of a certain age, it gets to a certain point in a film, particularly a film where I do think some of the scenes go on a little bit longer than they need to, particularly when you need to pee, and they're quite quiet, some of the scenes. So I could hear other people shuffling around in the cinema. But also, there comes a point where I am mostly thinking about, right, what's the arc happening right now? How long have I got before there's going to be a break before I can go to the toilet? What's the best time to go? And so there's a good, probably 15-minute segment of this film where most of my concentration is, what's my bladder doing now? Apart from that, I know it's nothing to do with the film. I
Yeah,
just wasn't expecting it to be as long as it is. So
Well,
the
you
point
should
is,
read the shit I put on Facebook. I posted that like
I
weeks
know,
before the movie was released.
I don't like watching a Netflix thing if I know how many episodes there are, let alone how long each episode is. So I like to go it. For some reason, I like that. That's why if I'd watched this at home, most of my arguments would be absolutely null and void.
Well, so far your only argument is I didn't know how long it was and I needed a pee. That's not the fucking film's fault in any way, shape or form.
I said most of them wouldn't count. Also, secondly, I said some scenes go on a bit longer than they need to. Some of them could be trimmed a little bit. Not always, but I think some do go on a little bit longer than they need to. There was a moment in it. Well, it's not a moment. There's a thing in it which, while I was watching it, slightly irked me and made me get a bit weird. But on reflection, I think is absolutely fine. That is the Riddler's... when he gets a bit shouty...
Yeah.
He's very, well, in reflection, he's actually very, very good at producing the type of autistic type noises I do hear in reality because I mix with a lot of people of different people on that sort of spectrum, that sort of thing. And it was so close that there was a moment I was like, it sounds a bit mocking. And then as I thought about it more, I thought, no, it's just actually what it's like. But it was quite unnerving, which I suppose is what's supposed to be happening in the film.
Yeah.
But so I was sort of looking around at a couple of people in the cinema who I know have that in their life, and I was thinking, is this how you taking this? But I was fine. Anyway, all of that I understand is purely on me and my experience of that. The only thing I would have written slightly differently is the love story between the Catwoman and Batman. I know it's not a love story as such. I am absolutely all for the flirtiness, the sexiness, all that business. I get when you thrust two attractive people into like high energy situations, you might get a bit of friction. I was fine with that. It was the kisses I didn't like. There's like a couple of kisses which I didn't feel were earned. They slightly raise up this sort of slightly cheesy music in the background both times it happens, and I didn't think the kisses were necessary. I was really happy for like the tension and I like the sexual tension. I didn't like the payoff.
Yeah,
And
I think you
particularly
missed the point with that.
Well, particularly the one at the end. Sorry for spoilers if anyone's here. Where she thinks he's dead. Or might be Tess.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
but
they're going to go
that's...
two ways. Either she's kissing a corpse, or they're doing a bit of a cliched Prince Charming bring him back to life thing.
No.
And
No. She's saying you can rest now. Like, she doesn't know if he's dying or not, but that's just you can go now. Like, it's
I'm all for that, and I'm not saying you can't think differently on it. In my mind, there wasn't enough build-up in the time they'd known each other to warrant that level. Plus, with the music, I think just added to it for me. If they kept sort of the somber music in the background, I would have been okay with it. But because it suddenly went a bit more romancy, I would like, oh. But I'm deliberately giving negatives to balance out.
But yeah, sorry.
All of the wonderfulness
kiss
that's
is
here.
entirely her trying to bring him into her score that she'd been planning for years. That's as I was saying earlier, that's the side plot that Catwoman's got a whole plot and you don't even see half of it because we're following Batman. But because she's in a relationship with Annika at the start.
Yeah. I can't believe that,
And
because
then
then I have to believe that certain women in my life have only kissed me just because they're trying to get me into certain pyramid schemes or something. I don't know.
Yes, the whole thing, like, she seems to be trying it when they're fighting when they very first meet. It's just trying to get him on side. I'm not saying that the attraction isn't properly there, but I think that kicks in after he saves her from Falcone. Truly, I think that's when that actually kicks in and, oh, he actually does care about me. He's not like all of these other people. Because they even make a deal of that earlier on a couple of times. So,
Fine. Well, that said, I didn't think it was earned, but maybe there's more to it. I have only seen it once, and I needed to pee for most of it. So that said, overall, the film, very, very good. Thumbs up. Would watch again. Will watch again. Very excited. In fact, I was quite excited to go and see it again. I just haven't yet. So, yeah, if it had been on like streaming, I would have watched it again the next day. Absolutely. It's only the fact of got to go to cinema to see it. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Very good film. Would see a sequel. The Joker thing you mentioned at the end, I had forgotten about that. Sorry, in terms of spoilers and shit. Anyway, just throw that out the window. So two things. A, the extra scene that they did cut out or weren't going to use but filmed.
yeah.
I don't think that was needed, mostly because most of the things they revealed from that, in my mind, kind of preempted things that were going to be revealed in the film anyway, in a better way later, more related to the Riddler. He sort of just tells you things that are going to happen, or he reveals things in that scene. Liked watching it afterwards, would watch it as a deleted scene on a DVD, don't think it was necessary in the film. Similarly, the one that is in the actual film, it's interesting it's there, but while I was watching it, I don't think it's necessary to have this here. It does feel like a sequel setup that you don't need. It could have ended 5 minutes early without that, I think. But generally, yeah, a very good film.
I think the trick with that is that you needed one more scene with Riddler at the very end to tie everything off. Because they didn't want to... They wanted to leave with an ending where the Riddler had both won, but Batman had also stopped him from winning. And I think they needed something there to stop your last impression of the Riddler being one of the fake Riddlers. By the way, that fake Riddler, when Catwoman kisses him and then the guy comes with the knife and is trying to stab her, that final Riddler is the guy who pulls Bruce aside in the funeral scene earlier in the movie and says about the renewal fund not helping when his daughter died.
I didn't know that at the time, but I did pick up on that watching a scene later, yes.
More wonderful parallels to it. And I think they needed something more of Dano's Riddler, so the last Riddler you just did see was that nobody, even though it kind of plays into the Riddler's thing that he is a nobody. But yeah, I was the same. I think I would have been a bit less put off if it were a character other than Joker. But that is a personal thing to me because I'm a massive Batman fan as well, you know, and I'm kind of sick of Joker at this point. So if that had been a Two-Face or something like that, or you know, what I was really hoping for in this movie, if that had been Hugo Strange, as his doctor, that would have been incredible. But the simple fact of the matter is, they've got to release a sequel, and they want people to think Joker is going to be in it, because then more people will come out and see the sequel. I've had this conversation quite a lot in some of the comic book forums, because they get so blinkered in there, and I can to a degree. But despite everything that happened with the Justice League Snyder Cut and everything like that, the fact is, to the main movie-going audience, like your average thing, I don't think most people liked Batman vs Superman, and I know no one liked Justice League, and they were the last two Batman movies. This was an exercise in re-establishing Batman in the popular consciousness as something good and something enjoyable to watch. And I am forever fucking thankful they didn't just make a Marvel movie, because as far away from what Marvel was doing as Man of Steel, Justice League, Batman vs Superman was, one of the criticisms they got was they were trying to do the shared universe thing, and I think they were going through it in an interesting way if that had come to pass. But it would have been so easy to have just had them put on Iron Man and say, do that but with a bat cowl, and I would have fucking hated it. I'm glad we still got something that's trying to be artistically valid. I'm still glad we got something that it's what I say about Nolan's movies, things like Inception. Like, that's a great movie. It's not art, but there is craft to it, and I think that should be the baseline of what a movie should be. Like that, I think that should, as great, Inception is great because it stands out, but I don't think it does anything so incredibly well, or any one thing so incredibly well, that it's raised to, legitimate cinema or whatever bollocks term you want to put on it. I just think that what Chris Nolan makes in those kind of movies should be the baseline of how a standard movie should be quality-wise, and way more often than not, they fall way, way short of that. I would say the same thing of the last several years of Marvel. If it's not got Avengers or Spider-Man in the title, they have not been very good movies. Can't fucking wait for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, though, right? Multiverse bollocks, I'm into that. Multiple versions of the hero, I'm into that. Sam fucking Raimi, I'm into that. And apparently he's been given free reign. And at the end of the trailer, if you look closely, there's a fucking Doctor Strange Deadite, and I cannot wait. It looks amazing. But I digress. This was a great movie.
What's a Deadite?
The fucking Evil Dead Army of Darkness movie.
All
like
right.
the resurrected. Yeah, they're called Deadites. God, it looks incredible. Like the trailer. I divert again. Right, let's finish Batman off. Batman was
one more
fucking
question
incredible.
about Batman.
I'm so happy.
Slightly tangential. To do with Marvel. Marvel's very spectacular. I think a good thing to go to cinema for that is you get a lot of audience reaction to some of the big things, particularly Avengers things. You went to an opening night thing, presumably with people who wanted to be there on the opening night.
Yes.
But it has some high octane moments, but a lot of it is plodding and quite, detective-y and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
How did the audience react? Were you aware of the rest of the people there, or did you just focus yourself on it?
No, because it's not that kind of movie.
I was wondering if cheering and stuff.
One of the things this really had going for it is that the Chris Nolan movies had got people to expect from a Batman movie something slower and more talky and less actiony. So I think the audience that were in there that night had all seen the trailers, were all Batman fans, and were pretty much all there to see not what we got. I don't think anyone was expecting what we got. I certainly didn't. It surpassed all of my expectations. But I think a lot of people went in with an idea in mind, and this was close enough to that idea that no one was initially surprised enough that it took them out of it, and they're all sitting there like every single time. This is a bit of a bigger spoiler. We've talked about quite a lot of the plot anyway. I think we've danced around a lot of the plot anyway. But like, someone dies in a scene very explicitly on camera. And every time I've been see that movie, there's been just an uncomfortable silence for about 30 seconds to a minute until the next scene starts every time. And it is a wonderful sound. I love it. Just like a little bit of shuffling in the seat and a little bit of just... Oh, it's lovely. It's wonderful because the audience is feeling it. The audience is really feeling it. And there's a lot of moments like that in the movie. You know, you can hip it. Normally when Batman, it's in the trailer, so when the Batmobile jumps through the flaming column, like everyone laughs because you said it in the trailer. It's supposed to be a humorous moment. And it's great, you know. I think the movie is doing a great job of taking its audience with it. Whether, and like I say, I've seen it 4 times with varying audiences, and it's always been the same. You know, I've seen it on the night of release with Batman fans. I've seen it at a 10 a.m. thing with all the Americans off the airbase and their kids of a certain age, to be fair, because it's an adult movie. I love the fact that this is a 15 over here. It got its PG-13 in America. I don't see what you could really have done to that to make it a 12A, which is our next rating down for 15.
Adam? West is my favourite Batman. No, Adam?
I haven't seen it yet, so I'm looking forward to watching it.
So I've tried to be somewhat vague. Like, obviously,
yeah,
we're going to talk
you
about it
haven't
in a lot of
spoiled it
detail,
at all,
but
so.
I've tried to not go over the plot for what it is.
I don't think we've touched on the majority of things that you'd be like enjoy as it happens for the first time. Yeah.
So now we'll do the spoilers. So no. So yeah, obviously that's the big thing for me this month. I'm so glad it's good. I'm so glad it's as good as it is. And as I often say about these things, I'm glad it's done really well. But honestly, I don't give a fuck, because when a Batman thing comes out, I care about an audience of one, and that one is me, because I fucking love Batman. So if no one else likes it and I do, I don't care.
I just thought you were going to go. But you did.
Nah. Really cool thing. But both Matt Reeves, the co-writer and director, and Robin Pattinson, they both want to do Robin. That would be really cool. I'd love to see a proper Robin. And they want to make him teenage, so, you know, young.
Yeah.
So that'd be fucking awesome.
Not in his 20s, then?
No.
Good.
No. I'll give Chris O'Donnell this. It has, outside of laughing at it because it's so terrible, of Batman and Robin, because I do love Batman and Robin, it's hilarious. It has one of the few things I genuinely enjoy in Batman Forever, which is when he gets on the island and he's holy rusted metal Batman. It's like, what? It's like, it's floor, it's metal, it's full of holes. That's legitimately quite funny. But that movie is dire.
What year did that come out, roughly?
95.
Okay, so I would never have watched that with you. For some reason, in my head, I watched that at the cinema with you. I didn't even know you then, so that's fine. So I can see your reaction to that scene in my head.
That actually started. That is a benchmark in my head for why I go. It's a part of why I go to see Batman movies as many times as I do in the cinema. Because I saw that in the cinema 4 times. Because the first time I saw it, it blew my mind. I'm like, oh my god, it's the best Batman movie ever, blah, blah, blah. And I rewatched the Jack Nicholson one, and I'm like, no, it's clearly not as good as this. And I rewatched the Danny DeVito one, and I'm like, well, okay, it's not as good as this, but it's really, really fucking good. And I watched it a couple more times in the cinema, and I remember the 4th time I went to watch it, and I was sat there through the whole thing just going, this is terrible. What did I like about this? Like, was I blown away by it? I was blown away by the marketing and all the adverts and the U2 song, and like, there's so much stuff there's stuff in the YouTube music video that's not in that fucking film, because there's like there is a finished 40 minutes of that movie that Schumacher did that we will probably never get to see. It's got all the dark stuff and a lot of the plot and a lot of the character cut out. But apparently the original version is 4 hours. But we're
Could happen.
definitely never seeing that, because I don't think the rest of it was ever finished. I think he finished an additional 40 minutes and Warner Brothers took the hatchet and stuff. But yeah, that'd have been interesting to see his proper vision. And then whatever the fuck happened with Batman and Robin, that's just a great time. I will get drunk. I get drunk and probably watch that once every year or two. It's delightful. I've shown that to pretty much everyone I know. It's unbelievably shit, but in a great way.
You did say earlier you like different interpretations of things.
I do like different. I
You've
like
got
the
a
Adam
full
West
range. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I put Batman up there with Dracula or Frankenstein's monster and stuff that you can just, or Sherlock Holmes, you can do multiple takes on it and they can all be equally valid.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, his entire comic history. I mean, there's a 20-year period where it is that really bulky art and nobody dies and they all laugh with the villain at the end or laugh at the villain at the end and stuff. This directly what inspired the TV show. That's the mid-40s through the mid-60s, and you can't deny it. That is a quarter of, it's a bit under, or a quarter of Batman's publication history. You can't deny that that is a valid interpretation, any more so than the dark stuff. Like, the current interpretation in the comics isn't my favourite. I think he's regressed into more of a I think he's almost a Superman-like character, but without the competence, because the city's already on fire by the time he finally comes and with a swift kick sorts everything out. In modern interpretation, basically it's that the villain has magicked his way to the city being on fire by the time Batman gets involved, and then he fails a couple more times because he needs to get the trauma in, and then he fights better. I preferred it when he was competent, but it is what it is. I still get all my Black Label books, and he's treated a lot better in those. So, yeah, that's still a valid interpretation. That's just what the market wants from him these days. I think that brings a close of talking about Batman, because I could go on for days, but you've already got a Telltale series worth of that, and
it's a Lego Batman.
I love the Lego Batman movie.
Sorry, I didn't mean to encourage you. Sorry, let me pull that back.
No. The song from that, his song about being Batman, is on my fucking phone playlist at all times with all my series. I fucking love that shit. But yes, I will quickly run down. Has anyone else done anything interesting? I'll quickly run down something I've got if no one else has got anything.
I have nothing interesting.
I can't remember if I said it in the last one, so feel free to cut this out. But did I mention Back to the Future in the last podcast? I can't remember how long ago it was.
It was a month ago.
No, I think you were. No, I think you were going to go. I don't think you'd been when we did the last podcast.
No, because I didn't know you were going to go until you were there.
Okay.
I saw your pictures. It looked fun.
Yes.
So yeah, I went to go see Back to the Future the musical. It was part of my Christmas gift from my wife. So went to go see that on the 3rd of March, and it's great, absolutely great. One of the best musicals I've ever seen.
Is
and
it
I've seen a
the
fair
songs from the movie with extra ones put in, or is it all new songs?
Yeah.
Or
No, it's you get. I can't remember if it's 3 or 4. You get 3 or 4 songs from the actual movie, the iconic
the big ones.
Yeah, and then you get ones thrown in, and just the way there's like a bit of sort of comedy in it, where so Marty's in Doc's place in the past, in the big mansion, and he's just convinced him that he is from the future. And all of a sudden, Doc's comes out in this sort of sing-song dance musical, and these dancers come in and start dancing around, and then Marty's looking around, going, who are these guys? And and he actually asks Doc. He goes like, who are these guys? And like Doc goes, I don't know. But just whenever I start singing, they come on and start dancing. Just go with it. It's fine. And there's quite a lot of that goes on. And there's one scene in it that has nothing to do with Back to the Future, and it's just thrown in there, and it's the start of the second act, and it's this futuristic world where he's sitting in like this spaceship and all this stuff's going on, and then he does this like musical number, and then through the musical number without this it would have been, what the hell was that about? But through the musical number he's mouthing the words, what the fuck? And all of a sudden everyone just starts laughing, and then the next scene is he's in his armchair and it's all a big dream. That particular bit, and then it all of a sudden makes sense, and oh yeah, and the way they did the staging has to be by far the best out of all the musicals I've seen. They have this drop down screen that's see-through, but they can project things onto it. So the scene where the cable comes undone from the clock tower, you actually see him go up the stairs, but of course it's just the actor moving his legs up and down, moving from left to right.
Yeah.
But because this screen has dropped down, they've projected a staircase onto it, so it literally looks like he's walking up some stairs. And that's really clever. And then if you do go see it, this is one of the musicals I would say definitely pay out for a stalls seat, purely because the way that the staging is done, it comes out across and over the stalls, and they've got some electrical lights. You may have seen in like the little clip video that I sent you guys, across the where the boxes are. You've got these like electrical lights that come through, and when he goes back in time, they all light up. And being in the stalls, it feels like you're in it, and then all of a sudden the car comes out over the top of you, over the top of your head, and then the whole thing tips upside down and then goes like right way up, and then spins and then goes back onto the stage. And if throughout the whole entire sequence you do not see the boom arm,
wow,
you don't see it. Like how they've done it, and just everything about it is superb. And it is definitely one of the best musicals I've seen. And I'd say it's 80% accurate to the movie. Like the last 20% is just because it's on stage, and they have to do it that way because it's on stage. The rest of it is accurate to the movie, and that is a very high percentage for a musical.
Yeah, because like without taking anything away from the movie, a lot of it is people standing around talking.
Yeah, yeah.
Which,
I've seen
to stage. You know, there's not a lot of. It's not. It doesn't need action, but there's not a lot of action in it.
Yeah,
it's
exactly, and it's. I think it's helped along with how they've done the special effects on the stage as well, and the staging as well. It's all mechanical move. Get your words out, Adam. All the scenery is mechanical, so it comes off and on stage with like presses of buttons and stuff, and by doing that, the actors are able to interchange between scenes extremely quickly, and you don't see like the long break between scenes and type thing. And you don't see, like in some musicals, they'll do like just a random dance number just to take up time while they're building the scene in the background. You don't get that and at all, which is delightful. It's one of the things I really hate about musicals, actually. But no, you don't get that at all, and it's really helped along by the staging and the special effects and the way they've built the whole thing. Really good. Definitely go watch it. You won't be disappointed, and if you can, I know not everyone can, but if you can, definitely try and pay out for a stall seat, because it's a different experience altogether. Yeah.
Nice.
Big thumbs up.
Fantastic. That sounds really cool. I love going to see War of the Worlds, the musical on stage. I've seen that many times. And the interactive experience. That'd probably come up on the podcast. I did that last year. That was awesome as well. So
nice.
Yeah. Jason, you been up to anything?
No. Sitting at home, watching stuff on telly.
Sounds good to me.
Well, I had last week off, and it was the centrepiece of it was going to the Norwich UEA to see White Lies, who are one of my favourite bands. They've just released a new album called How I Try Not to Fall Apart, I think it's called.
Nice.
Yeah, really, really good. I was a bit disappointed because they're one of those bands that in my head, even though I've been following them for over 10 years, I'm a bit like, oh, they're kind of one of the younger bands I like. And then I just like got there and a lot of the audience was older than me. And it's like, oh, I know the younger people are coming in later, but this still isn't a good sign. I'm trying to feel a bit young here. I'm going to try to see like a cool rock band kind of thing, like an indie kind of thing. And I was, don't want to see people like me there. I'm rubbish. I'm just an old man. I don't see old men anywhere. But
You're not old.
When I got in there, it was a bit on the case. I was feeling a bit on the side of, well, I'm the only kind of gothy looking dude here. Like everyone else is kind of wearing a nice shirt and thing. There was the occasional t-shirt. I was like, and then the lead singer come on stage, and I swear to God, I've never enjoyed a performance more from a singer who's legitimately in like a white shirt, suit trousers, and dress shoes. I'm like, what's going on here? Did you like not have long to plan your outfit, or is this just? I guess this is just how you guys dress. You just out like a weird, smart, casual guy, and like I'm here all in my black with my huge boots and all my stuff done up. And it's like, okay, whatever, it's fine. I'll just kind of stand a bit closer to those girls who are at least gothed up and shit, so I don't look like completely stand out on my own here. But no, it's absolutely fine. I don't care. I'm fucking, as I say, I'm plus 40. If I were to go stand and watch a fucking band I like, I'm certainly not going to feel self-conscious about it. So yeah, that was awesome. They didn't play my favourite song of theirs, or one of my two favourite songs of theirs, but I don't know whether to fit it into the set. It's one of the most well-constructed sets I've ever heard. Like, they were obviously playing the new album. They played a lot of stuff off the new album, but I never sat there feeling, you're just cramming in the new stuff. Admittedly, the new album is full of belters. All of their albums are, but it was really, really well paced. It kind of ebbed and flowed, and I don't want to say it's not like it had a narrative, but it didn't just feel like a collection of songs. It felt paced over the hour and a half, 2 hours they were belting them out. It was really, really great show. They were really, really good live once I kind of got into their performance style, which was kind of to stand quite still and bop a little bit. It's not what I'm used to. I go to a lot of metal and goth gigs, like people throwing themselves around. It's a bit weird. It was really fun little peek behind the camera, actually, because the lead singer is also the lead guitarist. And he has, I think it was 4 different guitars, because he needs completely different sounds for completely different albums. That was really, really cool to see. But yeah, that was an absolute blast. And yeah, the Norwich UEA, the venue I was at, was the LEA building. It was not as big as I was expecting. It was really cozy. It felt like the old Astoria, or no, not the Astoria. Astoria's too big. Maybe the LA2 used to be in London. Like, it felt like it could hold a good number of people, but also it felt quite enclosed and cozy. Like, it felt, it gave an atmosphere that everything, like the stage was in the middle and everything was kind of focused towards that, and everything was kind of to push you a bit more together to appreciate the gig together, which is why you go to gigs, or one of the reasons you go to gigs. I hate online gaming and stuff. I hate being around random people normally, but at a gig, that is one of the biggest highlights for me. And the crowd was great. There's lots of singing. I obviously got right to the front, of course I did. That's what I do. Just singing my heart out and having a wonderful time. And touch wood, not bragging or anything, but still didn't get COVID. I thought that would have finally been the thing that got me. But no, just popped my mask on, but I got in there and, yeah, wonderful. Wonderful
Nice.
time was had.
Hey.
Not seeing another
Lovely.
band again until September now. Wow. Well, I might go see Gary Newman in May, just for the fun of it. But yeah, if there's no further business, this has been a mammoth podcast with a good chunk of it taken up by my beloved Batman movie. So, our word for the week is gonna have to be gone.
I was going to say, I think it's got to be Batman related, isn't it?
It's got to be Batman related. So I think our actual word will be El Rata Alada, and the fake word will be La Rata Alada. And if you've seen the film, that should make sense to you.
Yeah.
If you've not seen the film, or you weren't paying as much attention as I was, it won't make sense. But yeah. By the way, that website actually was a thing.
Yes,
like
I heard.
There were riddles on there for months, and it gave you behind the scenes stuff. There was a final cipher just after the movie released that I haven't seen the key to because I couldn't work it out myself. I've played with it, and now that website has been seized by the GCPD. So wonderful stuff. Wonderful bit of viral marketing.
Damn cops.
Like when they did a LexCorp website for Batman vs Superman. That was really cool. It had loads of like context keys for that version of Luthor and what he was planning. Like little shit like that, I find really cool. So yes, but that is your actual word. That is your fake word. We've taken up more than enough of your time in perhaps the longest Dinocast of all time. We'll see. But if it's at least as long as the Batman movie, then I'll be quite pleased. But I am Shaun. I will say goodbye. Adam, say goodbye.
See ya!
Jason, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
See you all next month.